my name is Sasha. Welcome back to Sash Reads, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in November. So in November I read 7 books. I was doing the magical readathon, the Aurelium Academy thing. So I was doing all the quests for that first bout of magical readathon. I did complete them all that I wanted to. One of the books that I was supposed to read I didn't end up reading. I read a different book for that prompt. So I was supposed to read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I have now misplaced my copy. I think it's in the car, but I cannot find it. So yeah, I will talk about the book that I read instead of that. But first of all, I finished reading A Lady of Brooksgrave Manor by Catherine Moon. I started this one in October and I finished it the first part of November. I really enjoyed it. It is a paranormal reverse harem about this girl who basically goes to a grave manor, and she basically sleeps with a bunch of like paranormal beings. Like you've got vampires, you've got a sphinx, you've got a like golem, and you've got like an invisible man, and I think there's one more. Oh, like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of character. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Just because I think it did go a little bit too long. Like, I was reading it for the smut, obviously, but there was lots of like plot in between that I was okay with, but then there was some plot twists and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, I don't get it. But no, overall it was really good. The sex scenes were really good, like 5 out of 5 for the sex scenes, definitely. There is a sequel. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up just because it's not, I don't think it's focused on the main characters. It's focused on a different girl, but we'll see how we go. The next book I read in November was The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the first novel in the Daevabad trilogy about Nari and Deva. No, my bad. Nari and Dara. Dara is his name. So Nari is a like orphan girl in 18th century Cairo. And she kind of has these like magical powers, but not really, like she can tell what someone is sick with, basically. Anyway, so she accidentally calls this jinn, this Deva, and he goes, are you sure you're completely human? And she's like, yeah, well, I think so. Anyway, so they go off to Daevabad, and we find out that Dara is actually, he's got some secrets of his own. He's like thousands of years old. And then you've got a different perspective, who is the son of the king of Daevabad, which is like the city of Jinn. And Nari, they find out, is like from this long line of like healers who actually, this lost line of healers actually. So she's like the only healer left. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Goodreads says I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 stars because it was so good and it left on this cliffhanger that I'm like, I need the second one now, which is why I borrowed it from the library to read in December. But yes, the plot, the like world building, and just like the romance as well, like 10 out of 10. Really good. If you're looking for like, because it's not really young adult, but if you're looking for a like adult fantasy novel that like you're diving into the adult fantasy world from young adult fantasy, this is definitely a great like bridging book to do because it was so good. I then read Changing Tides by Kristen Braddock. This is, I actually got it as an ARC from the author, so thank you so much, Kristen Braddock, for letting me read a review copy. Now, this is a novel about this girl. She's lost her parents. She's living with her auntie, and she loves like swimming and like deep diving and things like that. But something happens, an accident happens in the water, and she gets turned into a mermaid. Things progress from there. She goes back to like the city of the mermaids and the mermans. She's treated as an outsider, even though she wasn't meant to turn into a mermaid. Like, she did not want to be become a mermaid. She just got turned into it because of circumstances. So they're treating her as an outsider, but like she can't help it. So she's like trying but to like learn their ways, but it's a bit hard because obviously she's never done this before. Now I really enjoyed it. I liked reading from like the perspective of a human turning into a mermaid. I've always read like the mermaid turning into the human, so I loved that swap of the story. There was some things that I wasn't like, basically it was marked as an LGBTQIA+ book, right? But the main romance is still hetero, and there's only one thing that I think is why it was marked as that is because she danced and flirted with a female mermaid. Like, but that only happened like in the last like 20% of the novel, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe she starts having a romance with a female in the next book. Yeah, that's probably why I did give it a 4-star rating, because it was, I didn't get that marking at all. But yeah, and so yeah, basically they're talking about lots of like how humans are polluting the oceans, and that was a bit like preachy, it felt like, but other than that, it was a good novel, and I think you should pick it up if you've got Kindle Unlimited. The next book I read was The Keeper of Night by Kylie Lee Baker. This is also a review copy from Harley Quinn Australia, so thank you for that, Harley Quinn. And this was amazing. I loved it so much. I don't know if this was my favourite of November or if City of Brass was, because they were both so good. So this is about this Grim Reaper, basically, called Ren, who she's half English and half Japanese, but her dad, who is English, took her in because basically her mum didn't want her, or that's what she thinks anyway. She's growing up as this Grim Reaper, but no one really trusts her because she is half Japanese. She runs away from London to try and find her like Japan heritage, and I really enjoyed this. So basically she goes then to make a deal with the Queen of the Underworld, whose name was, can't remember, but basically like the goddess of death of the Japanese underworld, and then she has to like do these quests to like become a proper Shinigami, which is basically the Japanese Reapers. But yeah, like the world building and the plot and the like, oh, it's so good. Ren is such a morally grey character, and I loved that so much because sometimes you just get sick of like heroes being good all the time. Like, do you get that? Maybe. But yes, if you love books, you'll love this one, because yeah, it was so good. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for the next novel. I don't think it's going to come out till 23 though, which is so far away, but I'm excited. I'm so excited to see what happens next, because the end of like the last like 15% of this book, I was like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, like so good, so good. And then I read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This novel, okay, so this is about this husband and wife who basically get off on killing women together, and another morally grey character. Like, I love reading thrillers where you're reading from the perspective of the killer. Like, you don't get that a lot. And if there's more books out there, like, definitely show me those, because I want to read more. I know she's got her For Your Own Good, which is her next novel that focuses on someone killing people. But this one, I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, just because some things in there I was like, okay, I mean, that's a bit, like, I think this was the one I read the quickest, I think it only took me like 2 days. Anyway, I don't really want to give much about this book because I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you love reading from the killer's perspective and you love plot twists, this is a book for you, definitely. I then read The Last to Leave by Erica Ridley. This is a female-female romance, and it's Hate to Love, actually. Oh, what's that Christina Lauren novel? Oh, The Unhoneymooners. Basically, it's like female-female Unhoneymooners, but better, because I don't really like Unhoneymooners, but I really liked The Last to Leave. So it's about this, these two girls, Nicole and Courtney. I always got them mixed up because their names were so similar, so I couldn't really picture who was who in the head. But other than that, in high school, they had this rivalry. They were from different schools, but they had like this sporting rivalry. But now it's like 20, maybe it's only 10 years later. Their best friends are going to Cabo, I think. I don't know, they're going away, and because the dude is going to propose to his girlfriend, and they want their best friends to be there. Now so basically the dude's best friend is Nicole and the female's best friend is Courtney, and they didn't realize that they were best friends because they live apart. Anyway, so while they're on the holiday, their sparks fly, and they kind of get together, and then they get back and they're trying to help plan the wedding without telling their friends that they're together, because it's like a friends with benefits sort of thing. But I really like this romance. There was a bit of miscommunication, which I hate. Like, you all know I hate miscommunication. Something happened, and one of these guys is like, oh, I was like getting with Nicole, and telling this to Courtney, and Courtney's like, what? Like, why would she do that? And then didn't talk to Nicole about it, just completely like stopped talking to her for 2 weeks. And I'm like, just talk to her. Like, if you think she's the love of your life, just talk to her and find out what the heck's going on. That's why it was knocked down to 3 stars, I think. But yes, other than that, the smutty scenes was pretty good in this one too. So that's on Kindle Unlimited as well. I think I got this recommendation from Mina Reads, actually, because she was doing a come ebook shopping with me. So I'll link that video down below if you want to find more recommendations about female romances. Okay, and then the last book I read was Legend Born by Tracy Dion. This was amazing. So this is a sort of reimagining of King Arthur, but set in modern day times. So you've got Bree here, whose mother died probably about 6 months ago. So Bree's gone off to this college as a 16-year-old to like try and get her like foot in the door, basically. And her mum didn't like it, even though her mum went to this college as well. Anyway, so she then kind of stumbles into this supernatural world of like demons and the King Arthur and the Round Table, and it was so good. I really liked this. I was really worried for a bit there because I thought there was going to be some like it kind of gave me City of Bone vibes when you find out that Clary and Jace are like siblings, but not really. Like, I was getting those vibes and I was so scared. And I think we're going to have a love triangle in the next book, because Selwyn Kane, like, I know like Nick's right there, but I will always go for the dark, brooding, like tortured soul, and Selwyn Kane is definitely that. Anyway, definitely enjoyed this book. I cannot wait to pick the next one up, but I don't think it's coming out for 23 as well, so I have to wait a whole nother year for that. I'm so sad, but this was such a good book and you should all pick it up if you like to read any like King Arthur reimaginings or even like black main character. Trigger warnings for there is racism in this as well, and mentions of rape. Doesn't actually tell you about the rape, but there's a mention of it. There's others in there, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head, so definitely look that up before you read this book if you want to know. So that was all the books that I read in November. So obviously the last to leave was in lieu of Malibu Rising because I had to read a standalone, and that's what that was. I'm pretty sure it's standalone. So I think I finished the 6 prompts that I meant to for Magical Readathon. Let me just double check. So I read a book with a map. I read a book that kept tempting you, or the top of my TBR. I read a standalone. I read a book featuring ghosts. I read a thriller or mystery book, and I read a book with a school setting. So that's the 6. And then I finished Lady of Rook's Grave Manor, and that was the 7th. So hopefully reading 6 books for the Magical Readathon will get me something in April when the next one comes out, next round comes out. But now I just need to kind of choose my background, basically, like my character creation for the Magical Readathon, which I can do throughout the rest of this year and a couple months into next year. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. Let me know if you've created a character for your Magical Readathon, because I would love to know, and I'd love to see everyone's, because it kind of given me like D&D vibes, which I've played 2 campaigns, but we haven't finished either of them because just life gets in the way. But I loved creating my character. I think I've created like 3 other characters for like campaigns that don't even exist yet. So yeah, these are some of the books that I read in November. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them, because I'd love to talk about them with you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I try to post a video weekly, so hopefully you'll see my face again next week. Bye!